like we're approaching the 7 o'clock hour. Like all the players are here. Oh, 7 o'clock. Will the meeting of the Agua Dulce Town Council please come to order? At this time, I would like to ask Nate Frank if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the flag salute.
Absolutely.
Let's get the flag on the screen here, if possible. All right, here we go. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Old glory.
I don't actually see it.
Can everybody see that? Perfect.
All right, if everyone would place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nate. We appreciate that. And I'd like to welcome everybody here to our meeting tonight. Our meeting is being held virtually via Zoom. Thank you, Mary. And we do have Cindy Grimes as a community volunteer co-host for our meeting tonight. So if anybody wants to record tonight's meeting, you can press the record and then just request permission in the general chat or direct message to our co-host, Cindy Grimes. Thank you again, Cindy. That moves us on to our agency reports. And tonight we're going to start off with Los Angeles County Sheriff Resident Deputy Martinez.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So for the month of February, we had 0 Part 1 crimes and 1 property crime, which is a 75% reduction year over year from this time last year. Other than that, like I kind of mentioned, I don't know if it was the Acton one or not, but the department is on heightened alert. So if you see anything suspicious or anything like that, please call it in. You know, we're actively looking at our critical sites in the area and doing patrol checks and all that good stuff. And that's all I got for us.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Looks like we're clear. Well, thank you for the report. Look forward to seeing you next meeting. And that brings us to Officer Allen with a California Highway Patrol report.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So for the month of February, we'll start with citations in the area. Unincorporated areas around you, B200 for us was 21 citations. On Sierra Highway, my partner and I were able to make it out there a few times, so there was 33 citations. Soledad Canyon had 3. Nothing on Sand Canyon. When we get up to Bouquet, we had 3 citations, and then we had 2 tickets on Agua Dulce County inside your town there. The freeway, northbound side, 165 tickets. On the southbound side, 147 beat 207. Moving down to crashes. Overall, pretty low this month. Unincorporated, that's not part of the other lines, was 2 crashes total, 1 property damage, 1 injury. On Sierra Highway, 8 total crashes, 2 of them being property damage, 4 injury, and 2 hit and runs. Soledad Canyon had 1 property damage crash only. Nothing on Sand Canyon. Bouquet Canyon had 2 property damage crashes, and then Agua Dulce Canyon Road had 0, all the way across the board. The freeway was a little bit busier, of course, but not too bad this month. Northbound side, 4 property damage crashes, 3 injuries, and 4 hit and runs. Southbound side, property damage crash 1, 8 injury crashes, and 2 hit and runs. Nothing too major for injury. Arrest-wise, the Beat 200 had 1 warrant arrest and a DUI that resulted in child endangerment charges. In fact, there's been a huge uptick in those. It's a mandatory charge now. If you're caught in your vehicle drunk with a child, we have to report it to child services. So it does seem to be happening a lot. There was also a domestic violence incident and arrest out there by us. If we move on to Sierra Highway, they had 2 DUI arrests, 1 DUI arrest on Soledad Canyon, another on Bouquet, and 1 on Agua Dulce, but it was further out on the other side of the freeway. The freeway itself, the northbound side had 5 DUI arrests, a reckless driver, 2 other arrests, and 2 warrant arrests. And on the southbound side, 3 DUI arrests, 1 reckless driving arrest, 1 possession of drugs for sales arrest, pursuit, and 1 warrant. And that is all I have.
Great. We thank you for that report. Does anybody have any questions for Officer Allen?
I have a general question for both deputy and officer around. I was just seeing a news flash about FBI warnings that are being released around California drone attacks as retaliation for the war. Has the agency been in contact with you guys, or has anything been posted in general around heightened awareness around such attacks or opportunities?
Well, I'm unmuted, so I'll go first. But the department did notify us. I'm not privy to their planning and what their heightened sense of planning would be. I know my partners and I just did the riot control and disaster response training yesterday. We do it once a quarter. They kind of covered any sort of attack or protest is usually what we cover. Like I said, I'm not privy to what their plan would be. I know that they're watching it. We have liaisons with the FBI that work on a task force downtown, and any threat that they receive would be disseminated through them to the area offices.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
Don.
Yes.
It's Deputy Martinez again. So I'm one of the liaisons for the JRIC and all the terrorist liaison stuff for the station. We haven't had any specific threats. It's a general thing. And like Officer Allen said, if anything were like immediate or specific, that information would be notified and disseminated and stuff like that. So, but the whole sheriff's department is in a heightened posture, if you will. And like I said, we have our critical sites, infrastructure, communications, high value targets, and all that other stuff within each station's reporting district. And those are being extra patrolled at the moment.
So you're asking for heightened awareness of what's going on. Sounds like.
The main thing is like always, if you see something that looks out of place or whatever, you're not bugging us. Call it in. The worst thing that could happen is nothing. Or the best thing that could happen is nothing. And if it's something, great. You saw something, you said something.
Right. Perfect. Well, we appreciate that. Anything else, Nate? Is that good? All right.
Yeah, appreciate the update, guys. Thank you.
Great. All right. We're going to move on to the Los Angeles County Fire Department report, which tonight's given by Maria Greikan. Maria?
Hello, everybody. Okay, so I do have the report for you for the month of February. And we had a total of 39 responses in Agua Dulce. No fires and no service calls and no hazardous situations. We had 4 what are now called no emergency. And that could be a number of different things. They all get lumped into one category. It could be the good intent call. It could be the false alarm call. It could also be like the one that I told you about last month with the car that was stuck in the mud and they called us to try to get them out of the mud, but that's not what we do. So, it runs the gamut of those no emergency calls. We had 35 medical responses. And then you'll see on the report that there's a breakout of the patients that we saw. And you will notice, and this will happen on most months, that the number of patients that we see is greater than the medical responses. So the medical responses themselves are counted as incidents. Each one is one incident. But if there's more than one patient at one incident, then the patient seen will be a higher number than the incident number, if that makes sense to you. It mostly happens with traffic collisions. So if there's 3 people in the car, it's 1 incident, but 3 patients. We had one no emergency call that we responded to. That was we arrived there, and I have a typo on my report. We found a small outside wood fire that was completely contained and under control. So it was not a danger, it was not an emergency, but the firefighters did speak with the residents there about fire safety and making sure that there are no embers and that they have a fire extinguisher or a hose nearby, just in case, but it was a very well controlled fire. Then we have, again, because this happens mostly with traffic collisions, if you look at the table, you'll see traffic collisions, patient seen was 23. So what I am now going to do is on the second page of the report, it will give you how many traffic collisions we've responded to. So it was 15 traffic collisions that resulted in 23 patients from those incidents. So I just kind of pull out the noteworthy traffic collisions. If there are any, sometimes there won't be. But we did have we had 3 that were noteworthy in February. On the 10th, southbound 14, south of Agua Dulce Canyon, it was a single vehicle collision in the heavy rains, and 3 people were ejected from the vehicle, and all 3 of them did get transported to the hospital. On the 16th, same location, southbound 14, south of Agua Dulce, a single vehicle rollover, 2 people inside the vehicle. They both had minor injuries, but they both denied transport, so that was their choice. And on the 26th, on Sierra Highway, we had a single vehicle rollover, and the patient self-extricated, but they did accept the transport, so they were transported to the hospital. So that is it for the statistics for February. Are there any questions? Because this report looks a little different than what you're used to. But one thing I did do was I have access now to this pie chart that I thought might be interesting to communities, but it's just on the medical incidents, and it just kind of gives you a little visualization of the locations, the different kinds of locations that we respond to for these medical calls. So you can see that for Agua Dulce, most of the time, the majority of the responses that we go to are private residences or apartments. In Agua Dulce, the majority of our medical calls occur on a street or highway because it's, that's a little bit backwards from most of them. But you can see fire department, that was obviously somebody that we tended to at the fire station. Healthcare provider office or clinic, residential institution or school dormitory. So there's just the different types of locations that we respond to, and it just kind of gives you a visual picture of where the majority of those medical calls come from.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Hey, we appreciate it. It looks, things are changed, but it's definitely easily interpreted, which is what we appreciate. Does anybody have any questions for Maria? If not, thank you very much for joining us tonight and giving us the updated report. We appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
All right. Next, and I guess you had the graduation and everything went fine?
Everything went great. Chris was there as well. Chris was a wonderful victim.
Huh? Good.
Chris was my pain in the butt victim, and he did a great job.
Okay. I'm glad he was a pain in the butt. That's wonderful. All right. Well, we appreciate it, Maria. Next up, we have the report from the Department of Public Works. If Josie's with us here tonight, I don't see Josie.
I got a text from Josie this afternoon, and she said she had a conflict. She couldn't make it, but if anything comes up, I will forward any info that we're looking for from her.
Okay. Well, and the phone number she has there is great. I had a concern over Sand Canyon being closed, going up over Bear Divide, and called and left a message. And within 2 hours, I got a call back from one of the department heads informing me that Sand Canyon was closed and gave me the addresses and whatnot where it was closed from and where to. So definitely, it's something where it's great that she attends our meetings, and when she's not here, it's great to be able to have a phone number to call and leave a message or talk to her directly. So it was great. Next up we have LA County Parks, Vasquez Rocks, Park Superintendent Sarah Brewer for the report about Vasquez Rocks. Sarah? Yeah, I don't see Sarah here tonight. So if she shows...
Don, you skipped over D.
Oh, and I circled it. That's because I figure he's always here. But no.
And he is here.
It's the coveted Acton Agua Dulce Library report from Jim Wall. He's never missed a meeting. Jim, good to have you here.
Hello, thank you. I figured you'd get to me. I wasn't worried.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, things going on at the library. Some upcoming program we've got going on. Tuesday, March 17th, we're having a kids program where they're going to come and they're going to make leprechaun traps. Should be fun. It sounds like fun. The next day on Wednesday, the 18th at 4 o'clock, we're doing a program where we're decorating ceramic pots and planting seeds in them, some herbs, or maybe I'll have some flower seeds by then. We'll see. It'll be a surprise. That should be good too. The real big event coming up I want to make you guys all aware of is this weekend, starting Saturday, March 14th, and on Sunday, March 15th. We are having our Friends of the Library book sale. Both days it starts at 10 a.m. On Saturday, they're here till 4, and on Sunday, they're here till 2. They'll be taking over the meeting room, books for sale all over the place. Sunday is always a good one. It's bring a bag, fill it for $2. Whatever you can cram in there. I always plug it. It's a great thing to really help support the library. When you look at things that when you donate money to the Friends by buying these books or anything, that's money that goes directly to this branch. It doesn't go through anyone else. It helps pay for things like another program I've got going up later this month where we're making succulent terrariums. I've got someone coming in and we'll be making those. That'll be Saturday the 21st. But without their support, I can't do programs like that. So if you're looking at your bookshelf and it's looking a little sparse, come on by. They'll take care of you. They got plenty to choose from. And then to follow that up, I am just going to let you guys know that we do have a holiday closure coming up on Monday, March 30th. It'll be Cesar Chavez Day. We will be closed that day. So unless you've got questions for me, that's what I've got.
We have any questions for Jim? If not, thank you for attending tonight. As always, I apologize for not recognizing you in the right position here, but it was kind of great to mix it up a little bit.
You know what? Keeps everyone on their toes.
That's it. They wonder.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure Mary was paying attention.
Great. Well, she happens to be the one that creates the agenda, so I'm glad that she's on board.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Jim. Next up, item F, Los Angeles. Oh, I already did that. Sarah Brewer. She's not here. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, she shows up. We'll come back. Let's see. Heather, we don't have any. 5th District report. Stephanie English. If Stephanie's here or if Isabel's here, now's your time. I don't see either one, but I got notice that Stephanie is retiring, which is quite a deal because she's she's been through several different departments. And so we'll await to hear if she's going to have a celebration or just what's going to happen. I know when Rosalind retired, she had a thing at Hart Park, if I'm not mistaken, and it was great. So look forward to sharing that time with Stephanie. And other than that, it looks like, updates. After 8 years, Stephanie is retiring March 31st. Natalie Vartanian will assume the role of Santa Clarita Valley Field Deputy, which is great. So we got Natalie, and then we also have Isabel, are the two people that we're going to be going to. So that's wonderful. That brings us over to the California 34th Assembly District. Assemblymember Tom Lackey. Anna Zarley is the one who normally gives the report here. Is Anna with us? I don't see Anna here with us. If she shows up, great. California 23rd Senate District, Senator Suzette Martinez Valadares. Report is normally Tanya. Is Tanya here with us, or anybody else who would like to give a report from the Senate District? Okay, that's fine. We do have the Tanya's email address there if someone wants to send her any kind of correspondence or questions. Next up, we have the U.S. 27th Congressional District, George Whiteside. Shannon Hurst is the field representative that normally gives the report, and her email is listed here in our agenda, along with Maria Unzueta, who's the district director. So I don't see either one here.
I got a notice from Shannon that both she and Maria had conflicts tonight, but she wanted to pass on that Representative Whiteside's bill to use advanced technology on wildfire prevention passed the U.S. House.
Oh, cool.
So that's a really good thing. And they are still seeking entries for the Congressional Art Competition, and that deadline is April 13th, 2006 at 2 p.m.
Oh, so there's still time to get that in.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Wonderful. Anybody would like to participate, the details are on their website. Next up, we have the LA County Water Plan, Santa Clara River Watershed Area Steering Committee, Measure W, Watershed Coordinator, Amanda Begley. And I think Amanda's with us here tonight. Amanda.
Hello. Thank you all for having me. Amanda from Tree People, where I serve as the Santa Clara River Watershed Coordinator. I think I've come through here before, but it's been a minute, so I wanted to just say hello again and share this opportunity that we have to collect input from you all. We're trying to make sure that the program is serving the needs of community, and so maybe I can share a very quick couple of slides. Would that be all right if I share screen?
Let's see. We got our screen director working on it, it looks like. Here we go.
Okay, cool.
Let's see if this works.
You should be able to share now.
Okay, did that work? Let's see. Whoop. Slideshow. Are you all seeing a Safe Clean Water Program slide?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah, it looks good.
So just a little reminder of what is this. Back in 2018, LA County voters passed what was then called Measure W, and that created the Safe Clean Water Program. It has three main buckets of goals. It's to increase water supply. How do we get more of that precious rainwater in the ground in our local aquifers and groundwater? How can we clean it, like literally get trash out of it? And then the second kind of clean it bucket is things that maybe we can't see with our eyes, toxins, chemicals, bacteria, that kind of thing. And then that last point, which is why I'm here tonight, is that it's supposed to bring community enhancement benefits. There's this goal to make it for everyone and make sure that we are doing something with these projects that answer to community needs. So the way that we are currently trying to do that, and also here's just a map of the way they broke down LA County. So there are watershed coordinators like me assigned to each of these 9 watersheds, and Tree People's role is to work in the Santa Clara River watershed. And what do we do as watershed coordinator? We're supposed to be a project guide. So if folks have ideas for projects, help support them to getting in an application. We are supposed to be out there making connections with, the town councils or different community groups, or, the city, the county, all different interested parties within the region, and gather input from them on what their needs are. And then also just do education around the program and what is stormwater, which is sort of the main thing that we're trying to solve for. Stormwater pollution, how do we get more rainwater in the ground? How do we make sure that polluted water isn't ending up in the ocean or in the Santa Clara River or anything like that? So recently they launched this community strengths and needs assessment. There is this QR code here. There's also a website. I'm going to go to this next slide because it's a little bigger and I think it's a little easier to see. So this QR code will take you to the link. Mary also put it in the agenda. It's a really quick, like 3 to 5 minute survey. It's evergreen. The survey is going to be up there's no deadline. And what's also really cool about it is it has a public facing dashboard, so you can see how folks in your region are responding to these questions. But we just really want to make sure that we're hearing from rural communities and make sure that their needs are being met. And I will also say, some of you may have seen this rural water supply reliability program that has been around. It's wrapping up right now, but some community members have been getting free water tanks as part of that. The reason why we even knew that the issue of wells going dry or that people had needs for extra water tanks is because of a survey like this that we conducted in this region. Now, even though that program was not funded through Safe Clean Water Program, we were able to use our time to find other grants and funding opportunities to meet that need. And that's something we are going to continue to do. So we are looking at these responses and seeing what kinds of water needs folks have. And one thing we're really trying to make sure that we consider is what the rural communities like Acton, Agua Dulce, the unincorporated parts of LA County, how they're responding to these, to try to make sure that we can elevate what they are asking for. So if you have other networks to share it with or folks in the region, I really encourage you to try to get people to take a few minutes and fill this out. And then also, because I think it's sort of hard to be like, well, what is this program? I invite you to check out this map, and all those little pins are icons of different projects that have been funded, and it kind of makes it come alive a little bit more. Like, what do these look like? A lot of times they're park retrofit projects, or maybe greening a school, or maybe a green street where they do infiltration within the street, and maybe like bike lanes and things like that. It's a diverse range of projects. You may have heard of the Via Princesa Park project that's at the Metrolink stop in Santa Clarita. That received funding through this program. So I will wrap it up there, and I thank you for your attention for these last few moments. So thanks for having me. And if anything comes up, please feel free to reach out to me. There is my email address, and Mary has been an amazing advocate for you all on the Santa Clara River Watershed Area Steering Committee, which is the body that votes on how to spend the allocation of funding that comes into this program every year. So I'll stop.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Amanda? If not, I'd like to thank you for attending tonight and giving us this update, and look forward to working with you in the future. And we'll definitely, with your email there and with Mary as a contact person, if we have any concerns or issues or questions, we know who to contact. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Have a great evening.
All right. Next up, we have SB 552, which is the Small At-Risk Task Force Working Group for LA County Drought Resilience Plan, which is held through the County Department of Regional Planning to achieve meaningful and long-term improvements in water resiliency. I think Mary and Chris, if I'm not mistaken, have been the people in charge of that oversight committee for the SB 552. And if there's anything that needs to be shared with the community, now would be the time to do it. Okay, great. So I'm assuming everything's going, oh, wait, we have a finger up in the air. Not a hand, but a finger. Okay. All right, well, if you
switch your mic on, Mary.
No, Chris?
There we go.
There
I received the draft LA County Drought Resilience Plan, and tomorrow, I believe, is the meeting that we're going to have for the working group to review it. And I'll be honest, I haven't had a full chance to look it over, but as much as we would like to say that LA County doesn't jump in on private wells, they are. So I really just want to make sure that as private well owners that we're not going to be hit with a lot of onerous regulations. And I don't think so, but tonight I'm going to take a look at it, and I'll review it tomorrow with any questions at the working group. So we'll go from there.
All right, great. Thank you for that update. All right, we look forward to hearing back from you next meeting. At this time, we've got, Waste Management's report from Quincy Little. If Quincy's with us here tonight. I don't see her. She's been here every other meeting, but she's not here tonight. But I think their business is picking up. Presentation and discussions. Looks like we don't have any of those or new business. So that moves us right on to item number 17 in everybody's agenda, old business, which item A is RV encampment and illegal grading at 13305 Sierra Highway. Mrs. Vosky Kusian is involved in that. There's a draft letter to Stephanie English regarding the RV encampment and restricted access to Oak Street in the Sleepy Valley area. So at this time, it's time for the council members or the community members present to discuss if there's any concerns or issues regarding the letter that's to go out to Stephanie English.
The only thing I'd say about the letter, Don, is that I took your comments to heart at the last town council meeting, and I've just focused on the two issues. One is the fact that there's a pretty decent sized parcel of land with no primary residence on it, and there's about half a dozen RVs on there, and I don't think LA County Code allows more than, I think Mary mentioned it, one RV, and it has to be on a lot with a primary residence on it. And then the other one is the gating of a road that's actually owned by the county. So all the other sort of frilly stuff around the edges is irrelevant really to those two main points.
All right. Well, the concern I've got, and I think we can discuss this, and obviously, you know, a letter is going to get more attention, but the concern is somehow, and I don't know exactly how, but somehow we need to open this up to where it's a community-wide item. In other words, obviously, this property on Sierra Highway is a problem, but if we're going to write a letter from the council, somehow we need to consider all the different properties that are involved in a particular situation. And I'm not certain that this kind of looks, you know, this is more or less figuring out that one property And the concern is we're going to be nothing but policemen, which is kind of my concern. And that's where we've got paid officials that run agencies that are supposed to enforce the existing zoning code, and that's that's my concern. I want to hear from everybody that's out there.
Don, I agree with you. I think when we start tackling specific property lots, we're kind of getting ourselves into a kind of a sticky situation. And that's one thing that over the years, the town council has really, and it's a balance. It is kind of, it's hard to not tackle neighbor issues because they bring them to us. But I know in the past, say she had written to the council on our webmail, I would have replied, our suggestion is to contact zoning enforcement, regional planning, the fire department, that sort of stuff. And I will say, I've actually done this myself, not as a council member, with some RVs that were back in an area where I was hiking, and it was on vacant land. And first I called Deputy Martinez, and he came out and said he couldn't do anything. So then I went to zoning enforcement, and they took care of it. It was not overnight, because there is a legal process that you have to go through, but those RVs are no longer there. So I'm not sure that the council is here to tackle this specific property issue. I think it would be better handled by the property owner or somebody who is not on the, or is on the council, but is responding as not a council member. That's the sticky part that we have to be careful of, is that if you're responding as a council member, we need to have an unofficial official town council letterhead.
Right.
So that's where I'm at, because I see it's a slippery slope that we could go down if we tackle this, and then a couple other people say, hey, well, can you help me out with this? We'll never get to community-wide issues. Like what Amanda was bringing up, that's community-wide stuff, the Measure W. So, and we've had councils in the past get into neighbor versus neighbor, and it's not really what the town council was meant to do. Town council is meant to tackle community issues. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, okay, I'm thinking, my thought, and I'm just thinking out loud here, but my thought is, if we write a letter about the concerns community-wide, we don't spell out a particular property, but we express the fact that it seems like we don't have a lot of representation when it comes to zoning enforcement. Because my concern is we've got 15 or 20 different properties that I know of personally where there's illegal stuff going on. Whether it's, they start out with one corral and one horse, and then next thing you know, they got 10 horses there, and they got a camper. The nice thing is they got a motorhome, they got a storage tank, so it just little by little just grows. And I've had people call me. One was over there off of Johnson Road, Mint Canyon area. What do I do? This neighbor, and so I informed them to contact zoning enforcement, and that's something where that is what zoning enforcement is vested with. That's their job. It's not our job. But is there some way that we can write a general letter that does cover the community in regards to the community's concern? Because I'm a little concerned with this letter the way it's written. It's more or less spelling out this one property. There's no question to any of us that it's a problem. But somehow we need to involve, it needs to be community wide. So I need some help. Okay.
I'm going to take us back probably 15 years. And there was something that the county came out with that was called a nuisance abatement team, which was a number of different agencies and district attorney's office, sheriff, regional planning, health. There's a bunch of different agencies. And it was not a friendly encounter that anybody had. I'm concerned if we make this a community-wide thing that we're going to have regional planning out here looking for issues. And believe me, we've all got issues around us. And 75% of the time it doesn't warrant any action by an agency. But I'm hesitant to go in that direction, because then we're saying it's a community-wide issue. Come out and take care of, all the RVs that are out here.
So that kind of opens a door for them to come out and to address our concerns, begin to crack down on any and everybody. And it's kind of like the ones that are breaking the law, that that's what they do, is they break the law. And that's, I think the issue is it takes an awful long time to get a response, or what you feel is a response from the zoning enforcement. Our daughter and son-in-law went through the same thing. It took about 2.5 years, but finally the person is gone. They thought if they own the property, they can do any and everything they want to do with the property. Well, it just a few visits with zoning enforcement and a few citations, and it's everything is like you got to give them 60 days, you got to give them 90 days. So that's I'm concerned where I understand your concern, Mary. But I don't want it to be to where all of a sudden every meeting we've got somebody's concerned where their neighbor's got a junk pile. Because if you go around Ogwood, I'll say probably 50% of the properties have a junk pile somewhere. And I think that's something that concerns me, is that they're going to look at my junk pile, and then I'm going to look at my neighbor and say, well, my neighbor's got the same junk pile I have, so that now that fingers my neighbor. So I don't really know how to solve it other than on an individual basis, dealing directly with zoning enforcement, and hopefully they will see it through to the end. And I think in a lot of situations, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and it's something where continuing to follow up on what they're finding if they do a site visit or whatever. To me, that would be more helpful in the particular situations. Anybody else's thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, I think that we have to be cautious how finite we get with our
involvement in decisions and support, so.
I look at this letter, it's a great letter. And there's no reason why Chris couldn't be Vosky's advocate if he wanted to be, or turn it over to Vosky. I would suggest that instead of sending it directly to Stephanie, I would send the issue about the encampment to zoning enforcement, copy Stephanie, and the issue about the fire department, the restricted access to the fire department. And copying Stephanie on those also. Because I think that's taking it directly to the agency that has got the ability to respond. And Stephanie is the hammer that can come down to make sure that they follow up on it.
Huh? Any other thoughts? Chris, what are you thinking?
I don't give a rip one way or the other. That's what I'm thinking.
What now?
Chris, I don't think anybody heard that. If you want to repeat that.
Yeah, I'll take that letter and send it to Vosky and let her pursue the path that you suggested.
All right. Okay. Let us know, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I would say if 30 days passes and there hasn't been any response from zoning enforcement or the fire department or Stephanie, I think that's where we can also come in, is if there is not a timely response.
Because as a town council, they need to hear our voice, that our citizens aren't getting responded.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I hear you. No,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Does that sound good, Chris?
As I said, it sounds fine to me.
Okay. All right. So, we're not gonna take any action on this until we hear, and then we'll figure out what the next step needs to be. Next item up is a PSPS report from the Southern California Edison, Chris Perry. And yeah, I understand he needed more time to regroup with the people that had the answer to the questions that Mary provided him. And that was a great list. That kind of covered everything, and I think that's got the concerns. It's like, why did we go through all this if we're going to be treated the same as the rest of the county, so because we were told that they would have individual zones that they, down, like you say, 5 to 10 homes that they could drop power to, and instead they're dropping power to 350 homes, if not more. Okay, so he's gonna. I
was appreciative of him asking for more time to get the correct people here to answer the questions, which. Yeah. There's no sense in just having him here and he's not able to come up with answers or resolutions. So,
and I think the fact that our April meeting is going to be a hybrid meeting, I'm assuming that he's going to want to attend in person. And if he has the other powers to be available online, then we should get an answer. Otherwise, we get, I'll check into that and get back with you. But that never seemed to get us anywhere. So I think the fact that hopefully he'll be there, hopefully he'll bring the others with him. I don't know. But I think it's something where the fact that you provided him that list was so conclusive that I think all of our concerns were covered there. And if more come up during the meeting, great. but it's great. Okay, so he's going to be here next meeting. RTG Investments, Ogwood Olsey Residential Project. Do we have any update on that, Chris?
Yeah, there's been some minor movement of a bulldozer on site. I think that started in the last couple of days. It doesn't seem to be the sort of grading that would get them anywhere close to putting a housing pad together. And I suspect it's probably more restorative to get the rills from the flood runoff and stuff fixed from the various rainstorms we've had. I don't think there's any movement on the lawsuit between the next door neighbour and RTG, and I think that is, as I've said before, a showstopper for RTG, because they will struggle to get what they need to do handed over to the county for water tanks and water infrastructure when the next door neighbour has a lien over it for something that they've not fulfilled on his part. So that, I think, is all the way out in the middle of next year. So who knows? I mean, it's not much is going on. There's still a war in the Ukraine and Russia, and I think that makes it very difficult for the owners of the project to fund it in the way they probably planned to when they bought it back in late 2018.
Okay. All right. The question I've got is, as I recall, we were kind of looking forward to, I believe it was October of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. That's when their quote unquote permit was set to expire. And then I believe they got a 2-year extension by doing something, I don't know exactly what. But my question is, with that 2-year extension, is that coming up in October of 26, or is there any hope in that whatsoever?
Well, there were two different. So you're talking about the expiration of the unrecorded map for phase 2, which is the 245 homes and a wastewater treatment plant. They managed to get an extension to that by recording or giving some land to the county, which is designated for open space and park use. That was something that happened, I think you're right, in 2024. And it effectively extends the map. I'd have to go back to the notes from the time, but it was either 2026 or 2027. I suspect it's 2027. It wouldn't, given the amount of corners that have been cut on this project by the county to make anything and everything happen, I wouldn't be surprised to see some other similar event pop up with regional planning in 2027 when that's soon to expire. The other one was the what's called the NPDES permit. So that's something they get from the State Water Board, and it's something that they got for phase 1. And if you remember, with the septic permit that was given to them in 1993, I think it was, the Water Board basically said, we don't want to look at 1,000 applications from developers for septic systems. So here's a boilerplate set of requirements if you want to build a subdivision with septic systems. And as long as you use this generic template, we'll sign off your permit. The Water Board has something very similar with these pollution stormwater control permits. And if you go back to when they got that permit, there was a set of regulations, I think, that were implemented by the Water Board in 2018. And those Water Board regulations were superseded at some point. And if you had a stormwater permit that was based on the previous version, you had to stop using that permit by September 2025. And you had to get your stormwater permit specialist to update and resubmit and presumably pay some more money to the Water Board. So the fact that they stopped working in September-ish would suggest that that permit may have expired and they may have been a bit tardy getting their new QSP, Qualified Stormwater Practitioner, to write the new set of regulations they needed and get that past the water board. That QSP is also the same company that they started off with, who does all the biology and environmental studies and didn't pay them for goodness knows how long, and they quit. And then they put them on a cash up front basis and started working on the project again. So I suspect there are two permits at stake here. One is the expiration of an unrecorded map, and then the other one is the NPDES permit. And given the fact that they flooded the 14 freeway in December, I'm sure there's going to be some focus at Caltrans and the Water Board on the NPDES permit.
All right, so it's a wait and see kind of what's going to happen by the agencies that are involved with allowing them to continue.
Yeah, you've obviously got the State Water Board in at one level, but that permit is largely procedural, and then they obviously need to decide what they want to do to try and wring out a few more years of life out of the unrecorded map for phase 2. And I'll try and make sure, what I'll do is I will email Mary. I'll go back, when that all came up, I would have done a presentation and advised the council, so I'm sure it's sitting in a PDF on our website somewhere. Well, I'll just get it and grab it and send it to Mary.
Well, I just remember that there was a deadline that everybody was kind of shooting for, and then at the last minute, they recorded, like you say, some open space or something like that, that bought them an extension. And I don't know if it was a 2-year, 3-year, or 5-year extension, but it seemed pretty, didn't seem right, because it was like they were still working off old plans. I was just curious as to what that time frame was, and if you can look that up, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Perfect. Have we heard anything additionally from the community group as far as the Save Rural Agua Dulce at Agua Dulce Neighbors 2021? Boy, 2020, look how long that was ago, 5 years ago. Have we heard anything?
Well,
more?
no, I mean, I think the fact that not much is going on the site.
Right.
I saw something on social media that I got tagged in from a few months ago, and where people were asking what was going on because they hadn't seen any activity on the site. And then obviously a few days ago, the bulldozers going around, but the widely held view from the guy who lives next door is that they typically just drag that out every once in a while to make sure it's functioning properly and take it for a joyride around the property.
I heard they were trying to raid the property with an excavator.
Yeah, well, I mean, diesel will be $7 a gallon. I'm sure they'll be chaining it to horses to pull it around it.
That's right. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to move us on to the President's Report. And in general, in 2026, Agua Dulce Town Council meeting format, an effort to be more inclusive with the community's participation and effective communication, the council will continue with virtual meetings and have an in-person hybrid meeting twice a year. Virtual meetings will be January, February, March, May, June, July, October, and November. The in-person hybrid meeting will be April and September. Location of the in-person meetings, which will be hybrid, will be at the Women's Club, 33201 Agua Dulce Canyon Road. And that's our next meeting that we're going to be holding. So our December meeting will be in-person only. And then August, of course, is dark for summer break. So based on public participation, we may revisit and amend this schedule and format in the future. But right now, it seems to be working pretty well. We have incoming correspondence for action. We have Land, Sea, Air, Agua Dulce Airport agenda requirement that we need to bring up. And that's action. They're looking for a response. So in the past, I have not been made aware of anybody's request to bring anything concerning the airport to our regular meeting. Has anybody else heard anything? And if not, if someone would like to make a motion that we send a letter that we send every 6 months, I would entertain that.
Hey, Don, do you want to just fill in Nate? Because I remember that when Cliff came on board, he kind of needed a little bit of an explanation as to what this was for. So
Okay.
do you want to fill in, Nate?
All right, Nate.
Why we're stuck doing this?
I
Yeah,
would love that. I was going to ask. I was going to ask offline, but yes, that would be great.
basically what it is, when the airport obtained their conditional use permit, the county required them to ask the town council if we wish to agendize the airport. Now, when we agendize the airport, it's after we've had, if someone, let's say Nate had a concern about too many flights over his house or whatever, okay? Then we would address it as a town council first. And if we still had questions that involved it that required the airport sending someone to one of our meetings to where we would agendize it, then we would continue on. The only issue, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, but I think that when the airport attends our meeting, it would be considered a legal proceeding, and they would have to have their full legal staff here. Is that the way it goes, or what do you know about it?
Based on past history, I think that they would want to have their legal representative attend. But you know, we've got open forum, and they come. This letter comes now. It's every 6 months.
Okay.
It started every quarter. Now it's down to every 6 months. And our standard response is, we read your letter, discussed it, and at the time the council's decided that we will not initiate agendizing. If at any time in the future a request to address an airport issue is made, we'll accommodate the request. That's our standard response.
Okay. So does someone want to make a motion that we send the letter that we've been sending to the airport?
I'll make a motion, Don, now that I understand it.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Chris. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. So, Mayor, if you can send that letter, I would appreciate it. And in the future, if anybody has any concerns, they're going to either bring it to open forum or whatever, and then we're going to address it as best we can. And if need be, we'll have the airport show up and give their 2 cents on it. Next up is the public hearing, community meetings and workshops. First is the notice of preparation of draft program environmental impact report and public scoping meeting for LA County events ordinance. We had a special meeting last month. It was great. We had 6? Didn't everybody show up? Yeah. So it was great. It took me about 15 minutes to figure out. Mary makes it so simple where you can just click on the link off of the agenda. But me, it's like they wanted me to sign up and become a member and all this other stuff to join. I don't know if anybody else had that issue, but
yeah, because I think it wasn't that a Teams meeting. It wasn't a Zoom meeting. So
it was a Teams, and it was something where it's typical. Microsoft. They want you to whatever. But I fumbled my way through it. Finally, was able to log in. Boy, what a good feeling that was. And I don't know what I missed, but what I heard, it was great to have our participation there. Plus, it was great to have the county's participation there, which I think Bruce Durbin was there, if I'm not mistaken, and a couple others that were actually, we had worked with them in the past on projects and things that happened locally. So I think it was good.
Yeah, I liked it because it was like our own private meeting with the county.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't do it because we had our meeting when they had their meeting. And they gave us the following week, and I'm happy with the direction that they're going. It sounds like every special event venue is going to have a conditional use permit, which is key.
That's kind of what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And it was something, you know, when you've got 15 or 20 people that are attending a meeting, you can control, everybody gets their question answered, more or less. And that was what was so good, because I'm sure the public meeting they probably had 150 people show up. Well, all of a sudden, how are you going to handle all those questions? And I think we were out of there by 7 o'clock. They actually had us scheduled to be there till 8 o'clock, but we got everything into the slideshow presentation, open up for questions, and it was very helpful. I think it was great that they catered to our needs, and look forward to working in the future.
Right, and one other thing is there was no advocates for fewer restrictions on special event places, because there was nobody, and at a public meeting you're going to get that.
Yeah. So totally opposite of whatever the group wants. Notice of availability of draft program environmental impact report for commercial cannabis business licensing program. It's going to be a virtual public meeting held today. Yeah, so it's going on right now. Next item up is the notice of public hearing from the Regional Planning Commission, amendments to Title 21 and Title 22 of the LA County Code to strengthen standards for development located within the very high fire hazard severity zones and hillside management areas to reduce risk to life and property from wildfires. That meeting is going to be March 25th at 9 a.m., the Hall of Records. Or if you want to log in virtually, the connection there is, or the link is there in our agenda for you to type in and attend that meeting. That's going to be an important one. But quite frankly, we've been in the very high fire hazard severity zone for 20 years. You know, they haven't made us any worse or any better. And quite frankly, personally, it seems like that needs to be revisited. We do a lot of work over in the Malibu and Topanga area, and over there they got grease brush that's 45 foot tall and 50 years old that hasn't burned. Here we've got tumbleweeds, you know. So granted, we do have fires, but they usually, well, I think Maria can attest to this, they burn quick and not as hot as the grease brush that can flame up above Pepperdine over there. So quite frankly, I think there should be different designations, but that's a personal concern. Incoming correspondence for notice, Metro Transportation Development Act. Public hearings have already happened. Purposes to identify unmet transit needs that might be of interest to communities. Written comments will be accepted up until March 31st. So if anybody has anything to say, they can send their comments to the address or email. Legal education training for social equity cannabis entrepreneurs online. It's from 12 o'clock to 1:30 in the afternoon, March 18th, which is next Wednesday. Protecting your brand and intellectual property. And then there's a link there that will take you onto their website. Workshop for future land uses for communities with existing oil wells. So if anybody happens to find an oil well in their backyard, there's a meeting all about that. and the virtual workshop is to be determined at a later date. So we did have a number of plans filed for permits and other items through the Department of Regional Planning. Did anybody see anything that caught their eye that needs to be brought up before us in those certificate of compliance and installing a manufactured home and whatnot?
The only thing I had down was, what was the void certificate of compliance? I had seen that on the list too that Mary had sent around. I didn't understand what that was.
I don't know what that is either. Void certificate of compliance. Well, normally, and I'm not an expert in property development, but certificate of compliance, the COC, is basically the county looking over how the property was split up when it was split up. And if everything was done properly, great, you get a COC. If it wasn't done properly, you get what's called a notice of violation. Okay, so the notice of violation, they give you a list of things that have to be adhered to make the property split or the subdivision. And most of these are minor tract maps, which don't require a whole lot. But when you get into, subdivision laws and things, it's a whole different caliber of requirements and regulations. Mary, do you have any idea what a void certificate of compliance is?
I just pulled that out and it says deficient. So I'm thinking that when they filled out the paperwork, that they didn't have the correct paperwork together.
Okay.
The fact that it said it's not just void, it's void deficient. So
Okay.
I'm thinking they will probably resubmit with the proper details.
Okay. All right. So they were trying to obtain a condition of compliance, but they did not supply them. It sounds like they did not supply them with all the information, just leaving one of the things blank as far as the homeowner's home address or phone number is probably enough to kick it out.
Yeah, and I've got a note on my copy because I try to figure out where these are, and it says south of Sleepy Valley, mostly north of Sierra Highway. So I'm not really sure exactly where that's at.
Yeah, well, someone down there, if I'm not mistaken, was trying to subdivide the property into 85 different parcels or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And I think, but, I don't know if it was the same one, but regardless, whatever they were going after, they got rejected, basically, I think is the way we can term it. Okay. So they didn't file for a void. They were given a void because they did not have adequate information attached to their filing, it sounds like. That brings us to open forum. So this is the moment that we've all been waiting for, where anybody can talk about what they want to talk to that concerns the community for a minute and a half. And so if anybody is here for that reason, now's your time. All right. I don't see too many takers, so we're going to move right on to high-speed rail. Anybody have any update on high-speed rail? I'm not aware of any. I heard they put in several miles of track, but they still don't have a train. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I also heard the budget went from $33 billion to $133 billion. Now that's a little eye-opening. And as I recall, when it was voted on, it was like a budget of $6 billion or $8 billion with matching federal funds, and I think that went by the wayside. So that's going to move right on to the committee reports. First report we have here is Election Committee, Lorna Leslie. And Lorna's with us here tonight for the determination of holding a special election. Lorna?
Hi, folks. Good evening, everybody. I think we kind of addressed that at the last meeting, did we not?
Yep.
So I feel like and unless something has changed for you folks, I feel like we can, move forward and get them and see if we can't drive a little traffic to our hybrid meeting, which will also help us potentially meet interested community members that could be potential candidates in the future. So I feel like, again, our just personal outreach, making people aware of the meetings, which we can all do, and then just keeping an eye out and an ear out for people that might be good candidates in the upcoming election. But otherwise, that's about it from me.
Well, thank you for the report, Lorna. We appreciate you sitting through our meeting and giving us that update.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, so we're going to move on to the Film Committee, chaired by Catherine. Any report, Catherine?
Only 2 productions in February.
Wow, slowing up quite a bit. Parks and Trails, Mary Johnson.
I've got nothing to report.
Okay. Water Stewardship, that's me. Doesn't it feel like summer out there for some reason? We had winter, and then all of a sudden summer was like right behind. I don't know. I know we need more water, but it seems like at this point everything's holding its own. I know in LA downtown they had 10 inches above their normal. I don't think we got that much out here, but it'll be interesting to see. Right now everybody's wells are doing pretty well. They're keeping their tank full. But keep in mind that their water usage is down for the winter months. And most wells aren't strained until we get into September and October and November. And so that's going to be the real test. But hopefully we get some more rains. I know the weeds are already pretty high, and this 90-degree weather isn't doing us any favors. But we're going to see what happens. Hopefully we'll get some more rain falling to where we can enjoy the replenishing. Next up, we have emergency preparedness, disaster planning. Chris.
Nothing to report.
Okay. It sounded like Chris was the victim for the CERT graduation. He did a very good job, which is awesome. Announcements. We do have household hazardous waste and e-waste collection first and third Saturday of each month. And that's at West City Range Road, if anybody's interested in participating in that. We also have a free mattress recycling, which is March 4th. That's already passed. But that's actually going to be the 21st of March from 9 to 2 at Lakes Community Center, which is Elizabeth Lake Road in Lake Hughes. Community Connect, how's that working out, Mary? Any report on that?
Community Connect is working out really well. The program we had in February was successful gardening in Agua Dulce, and we had Victor from Eldorica's Nursery come, and he gave everybody left with really good tips on what works and what doesn't work. Don't waste your time on fruit trees.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to baby them.
Yeah.
But apples and pears and pomegranates. Pomegranates are probably the most friendly fruit tree that Agua Dulce can have. And then we were able to work with him and purchase some local plants, and everybody who attended was able to go home with a plant to put into their landscaping.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Great.
Well, also, the Community Connect is going to have a fish fry and free bingo. That's quite an offering. March 27th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Agua Dulce Women's Club, which is where we're going to have our meeting a few weeks after that. So adults are $20 and kids are $10. And it looks like each person or family or whatever's going to get 6 free bingo cards. So that's exciting.
And the prizes are going to be gift cards from the local businesses in town.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're also going to have a Community Connect spring egg hunt. And that's going to be held April 4th, which is going to be before our next meeting. That's going to be between 11:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. And of course, they're going to have the free crafts, egg hunt, lunch, and refreshments at that same event. Doesn't say where it's going to be, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be at the Women's Club, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Okay, good. We have a free dump day at the Lancaster landfill. If nobody's ever been to one of those, it's time to attend. Free dump day, Lancaster landfill. There's probably some limit on what you can dump, but that's going to be April 4th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on East Avenue F in Lancaster. And then we also have a free tire recycling, which this is a nice one. April 18th, 9 to 2, the Public Works road yard, which is down on Sierra Highway. It's actually, it's all the way out in Palmdale. I thought it was, I think there's a Public Works toward Canyon Country, but it's not at 38,000 Sierra Highway. So anybody has tire to recycle, you can find out the date and time on our website. Association Rural Town Council meeting is going to be held March 25th from 7 o'clock p.m. via Zoom. So if you want to attend, all you have to do is log in. The next Agua Dulce Town Council meeting will be April 8th. The meeting will be a hybrid meeting, which we're going to try and suffer through the connecting into the Wi-Fi and get online so we can have both in-person and virtual, which would be great. Future agenda items, we are going to have the Southern California Edison Representative Chris Perry is supposed to attend our April meeting, so we all look forward to that. So at this time, we're at number 24, which I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Actually, I wanted to just add one thing.
Okay.
The thing that you were referring to, Don, actually was done in October of 2023. The Phase 2 map was recorded then, and it was signed in on the 31st of October 23. So I think it's either 3 or 4 years from that date. So it's either going to be October this year or October of next year that the map will come up for further discussion.
Yeah. Well, obviously it wasn't last year, so we'll wait and see what happens this year, if it is 3 years. And if it's 4 years, then you're saying next year, next October is the next target date that we can hope that everything will just kind of go away. I mean,
well, I'm not so sure they're going to let it go away unless they're totally broke. But that period starts ticking on the 31st of October 2023. And when they extended the map previously, they threw all the documentation into the planning department in February of that year. So it has about an 8-month, so we would see something in February this year, potentially, or we would see something in February of 2027 to extend the map. And I'm sure it would come up in Mary's monthly reports from the regional planning information.
All right. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. All right. Still looking for a motion to adjourn this thing.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, good. Catherine made a motion. Do I hear a second? Well, you guys all want to stay here another hour?
I will second.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion to adjourn this meeting, and it's seconded by Mary. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. So we'll see you in person next month. It'll be a great one. And we'll hear from everybody. and we'll have a good time.
Happy
John?
safe day to everybody.
Enjoy this.
One
Yeah.
final thing.
Yes,
If
Chris.
you go to our website and look at the PDF that I wrote in October of 2023,
Yeah.
which is in the list of all the RTG stuff, it confirms on page 4 that the unrecorded phase 2 map is extended for 4 years until October 2027. So
All right, so we got another year and a half to go, it sounds like.
we can wait with bated breath.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
We're looking good. All right, John Boy.